Morning sunshines. It's more like afternoon. It's like 5 till noon on December 1st. So happy December, everybody. Only 30 more days until 2015. Yay! Also, 30 more days until I get to see Daniel again because I'm driving down to Arkansas on New Year's Eve day after I get off work. I'll probably drive down the 30th overnight and get there early on New Year's Eve day or something. I'll figure it out. I've got 30 days to do this. But it being the first means that it is the Monday after Thanksgiving weekend. Daniel came down, or came up technically, from Fort Bragg to spend the weekend, the holiday weekend, with me and my family, which was really, really nice. I'm glad they got to meet him. When he left Wednesday after work, he wouldn't tell me when he left. All he told me was at 2:30 I texted him and asked him if he was out because I stayed at work late because I knew that he was going to be here later in the evening, so I worked a few more hours. And when I got off, I texted him and asked him if they let him out. And he's like, yeah, we got let out. But he wouldn't tell me where he was, wouldn't tell me when he left, so I had no idea how far along in the 8.5-ish hour drive he was. His roommate, Denny, wouldn't tell me anything either. Can't blame him. Denny helped me out with my surprise, so Denny's going to help him out with his surprise. Though I really wish he would have told me something. But when I got home, I tried to lay down and sleep some because I knew he'd be in late and I was tired. It took me like 2-3 hours to finally actually get to sleep. I just sat on my phone and messed around on Facebook and Pinterest for a couple hours. Finally did end up taking a nap for about an hour. Woke up, called Daniel again, and was like, so, you're not going to tell me anything. He's like, nope, you're not going to know anything until I pull in your driveway. At that point in that phone conversation, I didn't find out until I got here, but he was 18 minutes away. He was like, it could be 5, it could be 5 minutes, it could be 5 hours. You don't know. I was like, you know. I don't know. You know. So, but he was only 18 minutes away. When I got off the phone with him, I came into the living room and sat down with my parents to watch some TV, and we can see the road that our house is on from our living room, even though we live in the country. And Dad goes, there's a car coming down the street really slow. It's probably Daniel. It's like, alright, cool. So I grabbed the dog, put on some shoes and a coat, and put her on her leash, and took her outside to go to the bathroom. We've been outside for maybe like 5 minutes. The car that was coming down the street hadn't pulled on the driveway. So I was like, well, maybe it wasn't Daniel, it was somebody else. So I'm outside with the dog, and he calls me, and he's like, I would come knock on your door, but I don't know which house is yours. Because the GPS stuff on phones, like GPS in general, doesn't like my house. Sometimes it'll say it's up the street, sometimes it'll say it's at the beginning of the street, sometimes it'll say it's under the railroad bridge off 421, which it totally isn't. It's close to that bridge, but it's not under the bridge or anywhere near it. Like super near it. So I told him how to go back around my block and come to my house and all that stuff. And then he got here at about 9:30 maybe. He left at like 11, 12-ish. But it was snowing in West Virginia, and he stopped for gas and other things, obviously, so that put his ETA out a little bit, I guess. So I got to spend Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday day, and so forth and so on with him. And he left on Sunday morning, and he got back home, or back to Bragg around, I'd say like 8. Yeah, it was about 8. But it was really good to have him here. My family liked him. My friends that he met liked him. He met Patrick and Michael, and they both really liked him. Patrick thought he was hilarious. Because, okay, so Thanksgiving, I usually have this tradition where I go visit Patrick and his son Gabriel. And so I went to go see Patrick, and I was taking him to his mother's parents' house because his parents are divorced. So I picked him up at his dad's parents' house, and I was taking him to his mother's parents' house so he'd have his Thanksgiving with them. And we had like a 2.5-hour window before he had to be there, so we just kind of drove around Woodford County and showed Daniel some things. And I was going down one street, and I was like, hey, look, horses. They were, young, but older, and they were kind of grown. I was like, whatever. Horses, yay, I've seen them several 100,000 times. I'm not as bad as I used to be when I was a kid. Like, I'd see a horse and freak the fuck out. No, not that bad anymore. However, we go around a turn, and there are some mini ponies in a field. Mini ponies still get me. Like, I've grown out of freaking out over horses, but mini ponies, they're just too stinking cute. And so, like, most of the herd is back towards the back of the paddock, but there's one pony who is really close to the fence line. And I was like, I'm gonna be a tourist right now, I'm sorry. So I pull over and I get out of the car and I go to see this pony. And he comes up to the fence and I pet him and he's really sweet and he's sniffing me and he's like, you've got sugar, I know you do, but I didn't have anything. So I get back in the car and Daniel and Patrick are kind of just smirking at me. Apparently they had been making so much fun of me the entire time I was outside petting this pony. At one point, I guess Daniel was like, I'd pull out the conversation that I had with Patrick about it, but Daniel basically was like, I'm just gonna drive out for a car, see how much she cares about this pony when I do that. I'd have shot him. Okay, I wouldn't have shooten him. I don't have a gun. I have a BB gun, but that would have been, well, maybe I'd have shot him with the BB gun, because it wouldn't have done much damage. Either way, I had a tourist moment in my own home state. But it's fun. Thursday, obviously, we went and had dinner with my family, my uncle Bobby, my Aunt Anne's house. It was all my mom's side of the family. And Friday, I went and I worked at Target for Black Friday. It wasn't actually that bad. By the time I went in, pretty much everybody had already, left. It was like a normal work day working on the sales floor. Then after that, came home. We went to Equus Run Vineyards and had a wine tasting, which was really good. It was nice. Bought 2 bottles of wine. They're delicious. And then came home. And then Saturday, I went to work again, got home, and we went and did a tour at Woodford Reserve, which is a bourbon. For those of you who don't know, I've grown up in Woodford County. It's literally, not literally in my backyard, but it's super close, like not even 10 minutes away. I had never set foot on this campus before. So it's like I told the lady, I was like, I've never been here, but I've lived in Woodford County for 26 years. I've driven past Woodford Reserve several 100,000 times, but I'd never been inside. It was a nice tour. Woodford Reserve doesn't have as many different varieties of bourbon as other distilleries do. So like for the tasting, only consisted of 2, the double oak and the standard. And then there was a bourbon ball that you could eat, which is basically just a nugget covered in chocolate with a little almond or a walnut on top. Those things are amazing, and I don't like chocolate. But so it was a good time. Daniel had a lot of fun. He liked it. And then Sunday he left at like 11 o'clock in the morning, and it was a sad day. I miss him already. I missed him before he left. Go figure. But now it's only 30 days until I go down to Arkansas for New Year's, and I'm super excited. Apparently his parents are super excited to meet me too, which is nice. I'm excited to meet them. I've already talked to his mom a couple times and his dad. They both seem really nice. Actually, when he was on his way here, I think, on Wednesday, his dad, Tuesday night to Wednesday, overnight, like Tuesday night I went to bed early because I had to be at work early. So after I'd already gone to sleep, his dad messaged me on Tuesday night and was like, I hope you guys have fun. Please take care of him. Don't break him. He's fragile. And I was like, aw, that's sweet. This is the first time I've really ever talked to his dad. But I have talked to his mom a couple times. I'm excited to meet them, though. But it'll be good. That was my Thanksgiving weekend. I hope everybody else's Thanksgiving weekend was just as wonderful and nice as mine was, though I'm sure I would have thoroughly enjoyed mine more, for various biased reasons. Today, I'm off. Obviously, because I'm here. Well, I'd still be here if I wasn't off. But I took my dad's car to get his tires changed because he took my car to Philadelphia for training yesterday. And so I was like, here, you're not going to be here and I'm off, so I might as well get your tires fixed for you. So I did that. Went and I saw my mom at her job at the horse park, and now I'm home. But on the way home, I was talking to my friend Alexis, and she was talking about her Christmas tree and how she wants to decorate it because this is her first tree in her first very own apartment, and so she's super excited about it. And so she was talking to her about how she needed to decorate her tree, and I told her to make sure that she put a yellow light at the top of her tree. And she asked me why, and I was like, Santa Mouse. She's never heard the story of Santa Mouse. So I recapped the story a bit, but I had to go back and find the books to make sure that I knew the story as well as I thought I did. So I decided while flipping through these books and rereading them that I was going to read them to you all on Facebook. If you don't know the story of Santa Mouse, now you're going to learn it. I'm going to push this back a little bit. You're going to learn the story of Santa Mouse. There are 2 books in this story. Obviously, there's the origin story, and then there's a why you put a yellow light at the top of your tree book. We're going to start with the origin story because otherwise it's confusing. So this book is called Santa Mouse. It is by Michael Brown and illustrated by Elfrida DeWitt. It was given to me by my Uncle Andy, who is my dad's brother, and his wife at the time, Tammy. I'm not going to read the inscription because no one cares but me. Anyway, this is page 1. It says, once there was a little mouse who didn't have a name. He lived in a great big house, this mouse, the only mouse in the whole wide house. And that's a big house, look at that. That's a pretty big, old, creepy house. I wouldn't want to live there by myself, that's for sure. He used to play a game. He'd daydream he had playmates, who were friendly as could be. The little girls would bring their dolls and dress up and have tea. The boys would all play cowboys, or be Eskimos, or Spanish. And being Spanish, you're a matador. But when he'd try to touch them, like a bubble, they would vanish. Now, through the year, this little mouse had saved one special thing, a piece of cheese, because all mice love cheese. The kind that makes an angel want to sing. And there's a little mouse angel. On Christmas Eve, he brushed his teeth, and as he washed his paws, he thought, my goodness, no one gives a gift to Santa Claus. Because cookies aren't gifts. He ran to get his pretty cheese, and after he found it, the paper from some chewing gum, he quickly wrapped around it. And then he climbed in bed and dreamed that he was lifted high. He woke to find that he was looking Santa right in the eye. Actually, it says right in Santa's eye, but I messed that up. And his bed is a sardine can. Just so you guys see how cute that is. Thank you for my gift, said Santa. Tell me, what's your name? I haven't any, said the mouse. You haven't? That's a shame. You know, I need a helper as I travel house to house, and I shall give you a name to you. I'll call you Santa Mouse. And there's Santa talking to him and giving him this proposition. So here's your beard, and here's your suit, and here's each tiny, shiny boot. That's backwards. It's shiny, tiny boot. See, there's the beard and the suit and the boots. You mustn't sneeze, and don't you cough. Just put them on, and we'll be off. Remember the whole thing where the I don't remember how this song story thing goes, but not a creature stirred, not even a mouse. That's Santa Mouse. And then over all the rooftops on a journey with no end, away they went together, Santa with his tiny friend. And so this Christmas, if you please, beneath the tree that's in your house, why don't you leave a piece of cheese? You know who'll thank you? Santa Mouse. The end. My family doesn't leave, or I don't know, do we do Santa Mouse anymore really? Because my sister is 21 and I'm 26. We never really put cheese under the tree. We just left it on the plate with the cookies. And we never left milk. We left eggnog because eggnog is exponentially better than milk. But we leave cheese for Santa Mouse because we're sweet like that. And then the origin story of the yellow light. Santa Mouse, where are you? Again by Michael Brown and illustrated by Elfrida DeWitt. This one was given to my sister, given to Andy by Aunt John, Uncle Ray, Ray J, and David. I don't know who these people are. I know Andy, but I don't know who the other people are. Why we have this book, it's Andy's, I have no idea. Anyway, every year when it's December, we're as excited as can be, for that's when we remember it's time to get a tree. We don't want a tree too tiny or too tall to fit the house. The tree we want has got to be just right for Santa Mouse. Look, they're all going to get a tree. Oh wait, they're getting a tree. Santa Mouse is Santa's helper. He goes with him every year, and it really isn't Christmas unless both of them appear. Santa brings big presents in that come for you and me, while Santa Mouse takes tiny gifts and climbs up in the tree. See, look, he's climbing up in the tree with his tiny little ladder. He puts them right next to the trunk or way out on a limb. If a gift is in the branches, then you know it came from him. Now, once upon a time, someone who looked a lot like you was putting lights upon a tree, some green, some red, some blue. When suddenly this person said, you know what there should be? A light right at the very top so Santa Mouse can see. It took a little help, of course, to set that special light, but finally, when bedtime came, it looked exactly right. Look. And it's yellow. Away up high above the rest, it shed a gentle beam, and when little eyes grew sleepy, it was a shining in a dream. Now, far off in his workshop, Santa Mouse was wrapping toys. He was hurrying to finish lots of things for girls and boys. As he hunted for a ribbon, suddenly this happy fellow gave a whistle of surprise because he found that found one that was yellow. He had needed something special for a very special present, but then a voice called him, very deep, yet very pleasant. It's time to travel, Santa Mouse. You know we can't be late. And Santa stepped into his sleigh. Come on, the deer won't wait. So Santa Mouse came running with his present at his side, and he leaped for Santa's shoulder. It was time for them to ride. Off they flew as fast as lightning. Santa Mouse was holding on, but then he felt his gift was slipping. Then, my goodness, it was gone! He said, "Stop!" I tried to save it. At that moment, he fell off, but old Santa didn't know it, and the sleigh went on pell-mell. Off he fell, but old Santa didn't know it, and the sleigh went on pell-mell. There, it rhymed. I was confused. Why didn't it rhyme? He was falling, calling Santa, but with darkness all around, there was no one there to hear him. He was headed for the ground. And that's a fall, guys. Falling out of Santa's sleigh, that, he must have been magic. He would not have survived that otherwise. Till he thought what he was holding tucked his whiskers in his suit. He took the paper and the ribbon and produced a parachute! Yes, he unwrapped his own gift to make a tiny little parachute. All you paratrooper friends I have, which is really just Denny and Bixler and Daniel, because I don't think I'm friends with any of his other friends. You all know how this feels. You can commiserate with Santa Mouse. Then kerplunk, he hit the snowbank and disappeared from sight, but he crawled out with his gift and looked around in the night. What he thought was, I am lost. Everything's cold and bare. The thing to do is find a house and wait for Santa there. But he found nothing but the wind that chilled him through and through. It seemed to whisper, Santa Mouse, where are you? Where are you? Here I am, he shouted bravely as he trudged on through the storm, holding tightly to his present as if that could keep him warm. He sat down with a sniffle. Sat down and with a sniffle, tied the ribbon in a bow. Then he noticed something funny. On the bow there was a glow. Somewhere near a light was shining. He jumped up, and it was true, for a tiny golden glimmering was gleaming through the blue. Remember how one special light was placed for Santa Mouse? He could see it now. It lit the way for him to reach the house. He crept inside, wrapped up his gift, and placed it in the tree, then went to sleep to wait for Santa Claus, like you and me. And that's where Santa found him. Late that night upon his way, he picked him up and kissed him, then tucked him in his sleigh. So this year when it is Christmas and you decorate your tree, why not put one light upon it that's as high up as can be? You may find a tiny present Christmas morning in your house. If it's tied with yellow ribbon, then you know who brought it? Santa Mouse. Bam! And that's why you put a yellow light at the top of your tree, in case Santa Mouse falls out of his sleigh again. Though by this time I think he's invested in a seatbelt. I'm not too sure. I'm not up on the workings of Santa's sleigh, and if it's actually seatbelt accessible, which I would hope it is. It's kind of dangerous to not have a seatbelt. But my family, obviously, we put a yellow light up at the top of the tree again, just for Santa Mouse. And in the morning, we find little presents tucked away inside the tree, wrapped in white tissue paper with a yellow ribbon. Always with a yellow ribbon, because that's the one that Santa Mouse had, was the one with the yellow ribbon. That's the one he made a parachute out of. But usually it's ornaments. For us, at least. I don't know how other families do it, if they do it at all. But Santa Mouse leaves an ornament for everybody. Typically, I would get a Breyer horse. I haven't gotten a Breyer horse in a while, though, I don't think. Or maybe I did. I don't remember. But that's the story of Santa Mouse. The origin of the mouse itself and the origin of the yellow light. I don't know if there are other parts of the tradition. Those are the only two I know. But it was definitely probably my favorite tradition as a kid. Just because it's a mouse. Who doesn't like mice? Except for my friend Bubba. The other tradition that we do as a family is called the pickle ornament. I could not tell you the origin of this story to save my life. I think it's a German thing. Because my dad's family is German, for the most part. But basically you have a pickle ornament, and you leave it out for Santa, and Santa puts it in the tree. And this is best done with multiple children, by the way. You can do it with one kid, but it's way more fun with multiple kids. So Santa puts it in the tree. And then, you open up your gifts, and you have fun in the morning, and then, parents are like, alright, it's time to find the pickle. So you and your sibling, or your cousin, or whoever's there, you go looking for the pickle in the tree. Excuse me. Whoever finds the pickle ornament gets an extra present. Typically, it's something that, everybody will enjoy, because you don't know which child's gonna find it. I remember one year, the pickle present was a 1-pound tub of Twizzlers, which my sister and I love Twizzlers. I think there was an iTunes gift card another year or something, but, so it's typically something you can, any kid will like, and it's not, like, gender specific or age specific or whatever, or interest specific really. But those are the traditions that we do in my family. Minus, cookies for Santa and eggnog because it's the shizzle. And waiting for my parents to get up before we actually come into the living room. Yes, they would make us wait in our bedrooms until they came into the living room so my dad could start the train, because we do put a train around the tree, and he always builds a bridge out of presents. So we would wait until he got up, my parents got up to make their coffee, start some Christmas music, turn on the lights, turn on the train, make sure everything was perfect, and then we'd come in and yay, Christmas! One year, they actually blocked the hallway with a mattress, but not because they thought that we would creep in, because we got a puppy that year, and they didn't want the puppy going down the hallway. So, that's my Christmas traditions. If anybody watches this, I would love to hear your traditions, because I actually think they're kind of interesting, and where they all come from and why you do them. Anthropology just is really cool to me. But, I'm glad you all listened and made it through my stories. I hope you all enjoyed my stories, because I have fun reading them. Little kids' books. I don't know why, but reading them makes me happy. Anyway, have a wonderful day, because I'm going to end this now. It's about 21 minutes long, probably the longest video I've done. It's going to take forever to load, but whatever. Have a good day, have a good week, and I will see you kids later.